Hello, welcome to the video install, configure and run MongoDB on Windows 10 operating system with me, Nam Haming from CodeJava.net. Through this video, I will share with you briefly what is MongoDB and then how to download MongoDB community server and install MongoDB on Windows 10. And then I will show you how to run MongoDB server as a Windows service, and also how to run MongoDB server from command line, and how to run the MongoDB Shell Mongo client program to connect to the server, and how to secure MongoDB server requiring the clients providing authentication to connect to the server. Let's understand briefly what is MongoDB. You know, MongoDB is the leading, most popular NoSQL database. It stores data differently than relational databases. It stores data in JSON-like documents or key value wide column graph, and it provides flexible schemas allowing developers to adapt with the changing requirements easily and quickly when using MongoDB and database schemas. And it can scale easily with large amount of data and with high user loads. And to get started with MongoDB, you can use the MongoDB community server, which is free and open source document database server. It is cross-platform, which means you can run MongoDB on Windows, Mac or Linux. And through this video, I will guide you how to install, configure and run MongoDB community server on Windows 10 operating system. Now let's download MongoDB community server. So head to the homepage of MongoDB at this URL, mongodb.com. And from the menu software, click community server here. And you can see the available downloads for Windows operating system here. You can see the current version is 4.4.1. Platform Windows and package is MSI. If you want to run MongoDB database server as a Windows service, you should install MongoDB as through MSI here. So click the download button here to download the installer program for MongoDB community server. Here I save the file on my computer. For example, I create a new folder, set up MongoDB here, save, and it is downloading the installer program for MongoDB server on Windows. You can see the file size is about 216 megabytes. Okay, the download has completed. So in folder here, and double click the downloaded file to launch the setup program for MongoDB. And here you can see the setup program for MongoDB community server for Windows 10 operating system, 64-bit version. Click next here. Click I accept the terms in the license agreement. Next here. And we have two options, complete or custom. With custom, you can change the installation directory. If you want to use the default, you can click the complete here. And you can see by default, it will install MongoDB. MongoDB is a program for MongoDB server, and it will run as network service user here, and the service name is MongoDB here. You can change the name if you want, but we'll leave all the defaults here. So just click next here, and notice that it will recommend to install MongoDB Compass, which is a graphical user interface application for managing MongoDB databases. But from my experience, installing MongoDB Compass will cause the installation of MongoDB stuck very long. So it's better to uncheck install MongoDB Compass here. You can always install MongoDB Compass later at a separate download. So click next, click install. Okay, done. So we have completed the setup of MongoDB database server on Windows 10 operating system. Click finish. Now let's verify the installation of MongoDB. So by default, it will install MongoDB on C drive, program files, MongoDB here. You can see server version 4.4, and you can see the bin directory here that contains the programs for MongoDB Server, MongoDB Shell, and you can see the data is default directory. MongoDB Server will store the database here. Now we open the task manager here, services here, and you can see the service name. The service name MongoDB here, and you can see it started is running here. That means MongoDB Server is running as the Windows service in the background, and we can start or stop or restart MongoDB service here. Now let me show you how to run the MongoDB Shell client program to connect to the server. So as you can see in the bin directory here, it has the mongo.exe program here. This is a Mongo client program. So copy this part here and open the command prompt here and change the current directory to that directory, the bin directory in the installation directory of MongoDB, and type the command mongo here to connect to the default local instance of MongoDB database server on localhost with the default port number. Enter. And you can see this is a Mongo Shell client program, and you can see it prints something here connecting to MongoDB, and the IP of the IP address of the localhost and port number 27017 here. And in this client program, we can type commands here to manage the databases in the server. For example, I can show all the databases in the servers here. You see, and by default there are 3 databases: admin, config, and local. And I can use the database admin here and show the collections in this database collections. And you can see there's only one default collection, system.version here. Now let's stop MongoDB database server from the service view here. Right click and stop, and you can see it has been stopped here. Now let's try to run the Mongo client program again, and this time you see it says error, couldn't connect to server at this IP address localhost here. Now let's start the server again in the service view here. Start. You can right click on service name, go to details here, go to services here, open services to open the services here, and you can right click MongoDB server here. You see right click properties, and you can see some parameters passed to the program here. MongoDB is executable for MongoDB Server program here. You see. Okay, now let me connect to MongoDB again using MongoDB Shell program in command line here. Type the command mongo and we can specify the host name and port number. For example, host localhost and port number 27017 is the default port number of MongoDB. And you can see it's connecting to MongoDB at localhost here. And this means it has connected successfully to the server. So database is here, you see. Use admin here. Exit to exit the MongoDB Shell client program. Now I will show you how to run MongoDB Server from command line. First, make sure that MongoDB service is not running and its status is stopped here in the task manager. If not, you right click on the service name and click stop. Now in the command prompt, change the current directory to the bin directory of the MongoDB installation directory here. And type the command MongoDB is a server program. And you can see the server fails to start, and we can see an error message here. You can see here non-existent data directory here. That means it requires the default data directory at the root driver of the Mongo installation C data /db in this case. So we need to create this directory. So go to the driver C, the driver where MongoDB is installed, and create a new folder data and another subfolder db here. So MongoDB server will store data into this directory. Okay, and now type the command MongoDB again. And you can see the server now is up and running, and you can see the message listening here. It's quite hard to see the message because it prints the message in JSON like format here. And you can see here listener listening on REST is IP REST of the localhost here, and you can see the message waiting for connections here. That means the server is up and running and waiting for the server connection. Now let's open another program another command window program to run the MongoDB Shell program to connect to the server. Here we also change the current directory to the bin directory and type the command mongo here to run the MongoDB Shell program. You can see it is connecting to MongoDB here. And type the command use source databases here, use admin here, show corrections. That means this MongoDB Shell client program has connected successfully to the MongoDB database server running here. And you can see in the server's console view, it prints a client connected to the server here. The client running on Microsoft Windows 10 here. Next, I will show you how to secure MongoDB database server to require clients to provide username and password to connect to make changes to the database. So make sure that MongoDB Shell is connected to the server. The server has been running in unsecure mode by default, and type this command: use admin database and db.create user. Here we create a new user. Username is user, attribute user, username is super user, and password is, for example, password and rows. Here we specify a row is a root here for the super user. That's it. And you can see successfully added user to the admin database here. And we can call shutdown server. And you can see in the console view of the server program has been terminated here. Now let's run the MongoDB server program again in a secure mode and with authentication enabled here. So we type the command MongoDB with the option --auth here, authentication. Okay, the server is up and running. And now in the client program Mongo Shell, we connect again. For example, we just type Mongo connect without username and password, and let's try to create a database and insert a document to a collection here. And then we will got an error message. For example, use code Java to create database named code Java, and db dot the collection name, for example, inventory. Insert one document to the collection here. Name, for example, notebook, and hit enter. And you can see unauthorized here. Command insert requires authentication. That means the MongoDB server is running in secured mode and it requires the client to provide username and password authentication to make changes to the database. So we need to exit the Mongo Shell program and connect again by providing username and password here. Dash U username is super user, and dash P to specify the password. And now you can see the client program has connected to the server in a secure mode. And let's try to create a database, a collection, and insert a document. Use code Java db inventory dot insert one document into the collection inventory of the database code Java. Name, attribute name value is notebook. And you can see the command has been executed successfully here. And because the current program has connected to the server using username and password, and we can search db.inventory find, and there's only one document here. So that's how to run MongoDB server program in authentication mode, secure mode, requiring the plans to provide username and password to connect to make changes to the database. So far I have shared with you what is MongoDB, how to download and install MongoDB Community Server on Windows 10 operating system, how to run MongoDB Server as Windows service and from command line as well, and how to run MongoDB Shell program to connect to the server, and how to secure MongoDB Server in authentication mode. I hope this enough for you to get started with MongoDB, the most popular NoSQL database. Please subscribe to help me grow this channel, and then like, comment and share this video. Thank you.